2 thumbs up is great. Hi.
Hi there.
Hi. It's been a week.
It's always been a week.
It's always been 1 week.
One of us or both
It's
of us.
been 1 week since I saw you last. Anything special happened this week?
Nothing.
Absolutely not. You lost your phone.
The phone situation is what happened, and it was not good.
Me
and my
nutshell for
technology.
it. Nutshell it for us.
Nutshell for you is I left my phone in a lift on Sunday and freaked out about it for 2 days, and then broke down and bought a phone for the Lyft driver to finally, after numerous requests, decide to say, hey, got your phone. After I spent 2 days running around and purchasing a phone I can't afford. And now I have to spend another day going back and switching it all over. So I'm highly, highly agitated.
Yeah.
This particular Lyft driver, if you are listening. Like it takes 2 seconds to call back and say, got your phone.
Unnamed Lyft driver, if you're listening.
Yeah, it was very stressful and time consuming. And I know it's my fault. I left the phone. That's on me.
It happens.
But like, you couldn't make a call. I'm very annoyed.
Yeah, I can understand not getting back to immediately,
Sure.
like finish your shift, go to bed, whatever. But the next morning.
The phone was left at 11 p.m.-ish on Sunday evening.
Right.
What you couldn't find a minute,
Right.
really, until this afternoon, today.
Do you have Find My Phone on your...
Tried all that.
It
Tried
didn't
everything,
work?
and it was offline.
Oh.
Like, I don't know what that means. Not helpful.
Maybe he has a lead-lined
It
car.
was probably dead when I finally did the Find My Phone. Anywho, that's my nutshell.
I always
could go
err on the
for an
side
hour
of-
alone on how agitated I am, how this all went.
No, it's very agitating, especially when you have to change SIM cards and numbers and new phones and device.
I put out money I really didn't have. So the silver lining is I can return this phone I can't afford.
That's good.
And I'm that much more richer because I literally thought I couldn't go out for the next 2 years.
That's the first thing you said to
Yes,
me was,
I was
I
like,
could go out this weekend.
I can now maybe go out a little bit, which is good.
I can have a martini now.
I can.
Because
I can
that's
do
how
that.
expensive
It's
drinks
allowed.
are in the city.
about
I've very uneventful week. We're gearing up to get a loan, a home loan to redo our kitchen and our bathroom.
Which he told me this before, do not understand why it needs to be redone. It's so lovely.
It is, thank you very much. It is lovely, but our pipes freeze in our kitchen, and every winter I have to turn the water off to the kitchen because the pipes freeze, because they're really close.
Oh, that's no good.
So
Yeah.
we need the money to move the pipes. We'll put in an island. We'll put the sink in the island so that way the pipes are nowhere near the outside.
Got it.
It's not going to freeze anymore.
That makes more sense. I don't know if you told me that the first time, but now.
And I really hate. Dan loves our backsplash, but I hate it with a passion.
So you two are going to have a meeting.
We're gonna have a meeting where I'm going to tell him this is what it's going to look like.
Oh, that kind of meeting.
So that and he's fine with that. I told him he can do the island. I'll do everything else.
Okay, compromise is part of a healthy relationship.
Sure. He has this really, like, he's holding on to this idea that we can have an island and it will still function like a dinner table where everybody can sit around every side of it and we'll all be able to like have this big Thanksgiving dinner. I'm like, that's not how islands work.
Okay.
And he's still like a dog with a bone. He's like, no, we can do it. I can do it. I'm like, if you want to upend 250 years of design history to make a freaking island, go for it. It's a whole other episode. Anyway, that's been we just submitted the paperwork. So I'll keep everybody posted on what happens.
Yes.
But that's neither here nor there because today,
yes,
we have guests. We have two guests again.
Yes.
2 for the price of 1, which is nothing. It's free. It's free. 2 of my very dear friends from comedy. They are amazing people. I'm so glad that they were both free at the same time because they're both very busy doing stuff. And I'm very excited to introduce them. So everybody, please give a warm internet silent welcome because you're just hearing this to Aubrie Williams and Shannon Devido. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. Where did we meet?
We met on a little group called King Friday.
Yes, we did.
Shannon and I were the replacements. We were
Oh my
there.
God, that's right.
Starring Keanu Reeves.
We were. It was just like that.
Yeah,
No,
house team at Philly Improv Theater.
Yeah, we auditioned as kind of additions to an already existing great team. And we were the two that got it. So the rest is history,
Rest is history. Look at that. So if you would like to, and I would like you to, and I know Kristin would like you to,
Yes,
please introduce yourselves, give a little bit about what you're doing, where you're coming from, just so people get an idea of who you are. Shannon, why don't you go first? Sorry.
I was like, yes, Aubree's gonna go first. No, crap. Well, my name is Shannon Devido. I come from the town of Holland, Pennsylvania.
Ooh.
We don't have clogs. Although I do have hair.
Well, show's over.
Map. We have no windmills either. It's a sad state of affairs. We do have a lot of Republicans though. Anyway, what was the question? So I am I'm an actor, maybe, and a comedian, and that's kind of what I do with my time.
Where would people have seen you?
It's a great question. On your TV sometimes. I show up in random shows every now and then. I was on a show called Difficult People.
Mm-hmm.
And Insatiable, and I played a rape victim on SVU because that's a rite of passage for actors.
My dream is to be a body on SVU.
I mean, this was pretty close.
Washed up in the river.
It basically was the same thing. I do think that my favorite thing about that show is that all of you know exactly what the movements that I make and make fun of the picture of me in the episode. And it's truly my favorite thing that you guys are on board with making fun of it because it's absolutely insane. Yeah, I don't know. I'm in I'm in a bunch of stuff sometimes. Not really.
Manifest.
Oh yeah, I was on Manifest this year.
You were on Manifest. You're being way too modest.
Yes, you are. There was a list of movies we just looked at.
Popped up.
Best summer ever.
That's the one I'm going to watch first. Yeah.
Best summer ever. And you popped up in the other two, which is like Dan and I's little guilty pleasure show. And I'm like, holy crap, that's Shannon. I forgot. I'm almost cursed. Try not to curse. I don't want to. Click the box.
Oh no.
I don't want to click.
Oh no, for me also.
There's a box I have to click that says explicit content, and I don't.
Oh no, not that box.
Because
strength in numbers. We got it.
So I mean, if you do, it happens. I'll cut it out. But anyway, yeah, you're amazing, and that's why I said I'm so happy you're here because you're in literally everything. And Aubrie as well. Aubrie, tell everybody a little bit about what you're doing too.
I am from a little place called Delco, made famous from Mayor Easttown for sure.
Yes.
I've lived in Philly for like 12 years now. I'm in my basement apartment in South Philly right now. And my full-time job is a nanny. I've been with the family for 13 years, which is wild. Yeah, they're adults now. They're like adults. It's crazy.
Okay, I know that they're not really adults, but I like picturing that Aubrie just has to be a nanny for actual adults. They're 20 years old. And she's like, okay, guys, please eat your vegetables. I can't with this right now.
I'm like, a glass of wine with my broccoli.
I'm like, please stop listening to TikTok while I drive you and also blare the radio. My brain is melting out my ear.
Oh, but I play the ukulele still, right?
I do sometimes. Yeah, I'm self-taught. I am not a musician by any means. But I taught myself guitar at 19 and I taught myself ukulele at 23 and then taught my sister on a family vacation. I rarely play. I'm looking at it right now. But yeah, once I stop nannying and doing comedy in all of my spare time, I will just, go to a Subway and just pull out my instruments and play subpar below coffee shop level.
We will be there supporting you. 100%.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank
I'll
you.
give you $1.
Oh, thank you, Shannon.
Okay, no problem.
And you are both you both own and run a production company called King Friday Productions.
Yeah, we're like a production team, friend. It's an excuse to hang out, essentially.
Basically, it was an excuse for us to hang out and take pictures. I really don't know. Okay.
We did a lot.
We do have it.
Yeah.
And we do try to make things. But I'm not sure if you heard, but there was a pandemic and we started it at the beginning.
January
right before our
January
first video
2020.
January of 2020. And we were like, we're gonna do all these things. And then the world said nope. So we should probably have taken that as a sign to be like, really? I don't know that
Not
this
us.
was a great idea, but not us. We kept going. So we haven't been able to make another movie because
Although we did make 2 for Easter seals, so like
I guess we did. That's
yes.
true. We made them for these like 48-hour film festivals. We did them both from our house, which were insane.
I
were
remember
both
them.
pretty great.
Yeah, they were fun. I like that. We'll put all the links in the show notes for everything we talk about,
absolutely.
so people can see them. Go ahead.
Oh, we also did Quiplash to Save America, which Ralph was a part
That's
of.
Oh yes,
right.
we did Save America. I think
You
I'm
all
not
did
sure.
Save America.
And that was
It was for the Georgia Senate races, right?
yes.
It was for all the Democrats running.
Oh,
But you were in our extra Save America after.
Oh yes,
right?
when we tried to go back and save Georgia. But
Yes,
yes, we saved America first and then tried to save Georgia. Again, we did both. I'm not sure that it's been successful.
I mean,
in the
anything.
last few months. But
Well, no, you're right.
we did our
tried.
best.
We tried. You know.
Well, you succeeded, I think, in some small way, because
I mean,
the 2 Democratic
still here.
senators from Georgia are there. So,
Yeah, right.
that's true.
But
And one is very hot.
oh yeah,
agreed.
yeah.
Although they're both great humans.
They're both very good.
They're both amazing. Yes.
Except
So, getting into today's
Yes.
conversation, did you have anything you wanted to pose to the group question wise?
Ooh.
Let's start there. If there's anything burning a hole in your proverbial pocket that you wanted to lay on us.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how much you guys like touched on pandemic stuff, but I've been like thinking about the cracks that the pandemic showed me personally. Like, I don't know if you guys all went through this, and like, I live alone too, and I like work as a nanny. So like, I've been kind of by myself for a lot of this whole pandemic. Not all of it, but like a lot of it. But I've noticed like some patterns that I wouldn't have noticed if I weren't in a pandemic, like namely just like, I'm not usually one to compare myself to others, but I found myself like scrolling Instagram and like getting jealous of like things that I didn't want. Like they weren't my goals. Like, and I was just like, why do I care? Like, I don't have this goal. So I like sat myself down and was like, yo, you got to reevaluate your life. It's a pandemic. Like, do not do this. So that was my kind of main.
I thank you for asking that. I
Yes.
love that. My opinion of Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, everything that I'm a part of. Hello, social media daddies and
love you.
mommings. We love you. But they're set up to be like candy for your brain. Like you scroll. I do it too. I scroll through Instagram and it's like, why don't I look like that? Why don't I dress like that? Why isn't my skin look like that? Why aren't I that tall or that short? I mean, it's like, I want to be 5'7" for some reason. Some days when I'm looking at Instagram, just because there's like short, hot guys on there. And I'm like, I want to be short and hot. So I get it of like, it's this very immediate fix from social media. I don't know. Do you?
Yeah, I think a lot of it just speaks to way too much time and not busy enough. I don't know if that's saying it right, Aubrie, but like, I think we were so slowed down, especially those of us that might have needed to slow down. But that was the hardest for those individuals that were going and never stopped. So when you're slowed down and you have very little distractions and very little to do, right? Then that stuff can become even more powerful of an influence over you. Yeah. And one of the things I've talked about that I learned in the pandemic is, you know, as a therapist, I was always like, self-care, which of course I'm still self-care. However, it was always like, is that a distraction or is that self-care? What I've learned is we need distraction. It really just like nailed like home for me. Like, I don't know if I said the wrong term, but you know what I mean? Like it brought it home for me that some distraction.
It nailed it home for you.
I just tried to combine two sayings.
No, it works.
We're going
to run with it.
Way. But I think we need. Why are you still laughing?
Because it just hit me. It's funny. Go ahead.
See, there's my funny. No, I think it just really makes sense now. And now I approach it a little bit different with my clients because it stripped us of all of that, so much of that. For some people, I think with people living at home with a couple kids, maybe there was just too much. But for those living alone or maybe with one other person, it really was just everything was taken from us. And what do we do with our time? And too much time on your hands. And we can do self-care all day and night, but sometimes we actually need a distraction as well. And unfortunately, if that becomes your distraction, I think that can start, you can go down a whole rabbit hole of unhealthy thinking and bringing up feelings that
totally
and it's also that's interesting because it's also the constant stream of excitement that we have every day, or like simulation, like visual, audio, you know, other people. And I think we've gotten so used to it, especially in our work environment, where it's like, if you're not doing something, you're not working, you're not earning a paycheck, you're not, you know, your existence is not enough. You know, you need to be producing some kind of product that's worth something. So I think the pandemic really, like, I think Aubrie, you said it good, of like showing cracks in the system of
many systems, not only
exactly right, because it's not tenable. Like you can't keep doing it. And I that's coming up a lot. I've been watching. I see it on the news pop up every now and again of, I'm not going to name the show, but I watch a show in the morning and they're always like, why aren't people going back to work? All these businesses are offering money and benefits and people don't want to work. Why don't people want to work anymore? And I'm like, because
it's Bob the Builder, isn't it?
What?
Bob the Builder,
It's Bob the Builder.
It is Bob the Builder. It's Bob the Builder. Yeah.
He was too embarrassed to say it. Thank you, Shannon.
It's okay. We're here for you.
The voice gave it away. The voice was very Bob.
It was. Yeah. No, and I want to scream at them because everybody woke up. Like, we don't. There's a whole generation of people. I'm Gen X, and so there's a whole generation, 2 generations behind me that are like, we don't want to do it the way you all did it before. And the pandemic,
not healthy.
Right. And the pandemic brought that home for everybody. Oh, we can insist on jobs that actually work with our life and not the other way around. Like we don't have to fit our life into a job, and great, you know, and it's taking, there's growing pains because it's taking corporations and businesses time to catch up to that new thinking.
Yeah.
Well, this was a great episode. Thanks, everybody.
We did it. We nailed it.
Oh, go ahead, Aubrie. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to make a Bob the Builder joke, but then the silence, and I was like, it's too late.
It's too late.
It's too late. Shannon, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because I'm in a profession that is driven by making your face seen, and the only way that you move forward in this industry is if you're popular. And so it's very hard, and you know, it's all based on, not all based on looks, but like the way you look and the way you carry yourself and the things that you wear and how you, like, the content you're putting out, and are you putting out enough content, or are you like, you know, I have like an arch nemesis. That's not true. That is true, but she doesn't know. But I think, but it's like, because I constantly compare myself to that person, because it's like, well, why they're in the same, like, you know, class as me. Like, why are they more successful? Like, what are they putting out that I'm not putting out? Like, how do I catch up? And, you know, I think it's a constant, like, and then you're constantly waiting for those likes, because you're like, okay, well, if I get enough likes, then like maybe a producer will see that I'm like popular, and then they'll want me put me in something, because I have enough followers that like will drive you to watch this thing that I'm in. And it's this vicious cycle of like empty gratification. And I think like that's really hard to grapple with, because, you know, like, what am I really doing it for at this point? Like, I don't even know. Like, it's very strange. And I think you were right though, Kristin, in that like, I'm one of those people who is going constantly before this all happened. Yeah. Like, I never stopped. And so for me to stop and now also be terrified of COVID, and like just this like constant fear of like leaving my house, the only thing I do is like look at what other people are doing. Yeah. And so it's like this like really hard thing to kind of bring yourself back out of, because it's like you've dug yourself so deep in this hole of fear, not only of like leaving your house and like getting sick, but also fear of like, well, can I still do this? Can I still go like be you know, in this industry? And like, am I doing enough? And like just so many fears that are like just holding you back. And I think it's like just that this huge struggle that I know I'm struggling with very much. And I think like I'm going to San Francisco this week, and like that's like a really big deal for me to decide to do, because it's like the first thing that I was like, okay, well, you need to go do this for your own mental health. Mm-hmm. But I'm also terrified. Like, I truly am like making myself sick because I'm afraid to go and like get sick, which is such a weird cycle to be.
It's how the brain works. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was very long-winded.
No, that was great. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh yeah.
It made me think of a whole bunch of stuff. The first thing I thought of was Meryl Streep, of like, acting is a very, what's the right word? Visible thing. You know, it's like you said, you need to be out there. You need to put your face out there. You need to post. You need to be popular. People need to like you and see you. But I'm always the one to think, well, what about the other side? Like, what's on the flip side of that? And that, like, the thespian part of it, of like, I don't care, I just want to act, and I'm going to. And then I realized, well, that's not going to work, because you ain't going to make any money, because
doesn't pay the bills.
The system is stacked against that, you know? And I think that makes me think of every other artist I see on Instagram or TikTok or anything who does work and believes in their work. And then somebody's like, oh, I love that. Give it to me and I'll give you exposure. I'm like, here's something you can expose, you know, right. Here's a couple middle fingers for you, you know?
Yeah. But then you also have like the TikTok people who are like, have, you know, they have no talent, but there are people on TikTok who like, there's a girl who just got like a $25 million like development deal because she has like 40 million followers on TikTok, and she doesn't do anything. She's just pretty, and she stands there and like she wears clothes. And I'm like, what? Why? Like, why is that person getting money? Yeah. I don't understand.
If I press
developing. Yeah. Well, you've been approached for that.
I've been approached
for TikTok modeling.
No, I mean the last time I was approached by
I was trying to do a funny with all these comedians. Damn, it didn't live.
The last time I was approached for any kind of work like that is by a guy in a van with no windows.
Oh man,
you take that.
I did take it.
Take every opportunity.
It was not a very lucrative endeavor for me.
Well,
I digress.
Did you have to talk to Kristin afterwards?
Kristin and I are gonna talk.
Kidding.
We always have a therapy session after these. Well, that's the other thing of like what's so special about these people that hit it big? Like what nerve are they hitting, or what are they tapping into that's like making them blow up so much? And I don't know if it's just because I'm older and I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I think this is a guess. I could be so wrong right now. But
Yeah.
people want to be like them. They want to be them, you know? So they look at that, and that's what they're trying to achieve, which to me is sad if we're just talking about somebody that's really attractive and wears nice clothes, and that they have that many followers for purely that. Does not speak well for whatever million people that I'm just like, what? Again, I feel old saying this, but I'm like, that's it? Like,
yeah.
really? Okay.
It's very superficial too, because like we know so many people with talent, like so much talent, and it's frustrating. We have this talk all of the time, Ralph, Shannon, and myself, like, how are people we know not like rich and working in the industry? And then there's like a kid on YouTube who gets like Miranda Sings is like, I like put on my Netflix and I was like, she has another series? Like, what is happening?
Who's Miranda? That's how into this I am.
She was a YouTuber in college that like my friends liked. I was like never super into her. She just sings and she's like it's a lot. It's a lot for me personally. I'm
sorry, I was interrupting.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was just going to say there's something for everyone, obviously. And that's why I think all of these platforms exist right now.
Is she that girl that looks like some version? All right, I'm going to age myself, so I'm going to stop. She wears really sparkly stuff, and she's really outgoing.
Oh, that's JoJo Siwa.
Oh, that's JoJo.
That's JoJo Siwa, yeah. I'll send Ralph a little.
This lady has like, she wears like lipstick, like very big. She looks like Janice from Friends with lipstick.
Yes, she does, and she sings. If you couldn't guess by it,
but it's like it's weird singing. Like it's not. I guess she can be. She's on pitch, but
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like I'm not missing out on anything here with this piece.
Yeah,
I feel like this sounds. I'm feeling super old. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't get it, and I feel like
it feels so old.
I'm not knitting right now, and there's not a cat.
But going back to that, like, I think it like boils down to integrity. I think a lot of people in Philly and a lot of people we know would never do that. Like we push ourselves very, very hard, maybe too hard sometimes, maybe to our detriment. But, there are people who are doing these like very base things who are making millions of dollars right now. And I'm always like, do I do that? Like, I wouldn't, but like, I have no money. When do I look it up?
What if they hit on something that we didn't see? Like, what if all these people who we think are like have millions and millions of followers and are making millions of dollars for just being themselves or like doing this one thing? What if they boiled it down to like, oh, I'm just going to do this one simple thing that seems like people like this. I'll just do more of this. And they just like figured out the matrix.
I mean, that is kind of what it is. Like, I think that they absolutely just, it's a moment in time. I mean, even when you look at television shows that are successful, it's that moment in time. Like, I mean, like Ted Lasso, I love Ted Lasso with all of my heart. Mm-hmm. But I also don't know that 5 years ago, Ted Lasso would have been as popular as it became. I think it came at a time when we really needed it, and we needed the heart that it showed, and the chemistry that it showed, and the performances that it showed. And that's not taking away from anything that those people are doing, because they are all incredible. But I also think that it came at the right time, and that happens a lot. I think with TikTok and like all of those things is like it came at a moment when someone was looking for that exact thing. And I don't know why they were looking for it or what they were looking for, but it just happened. And I feel like it's hard to put kind of any kind of like thought behind it, because you're like, it doesn't always make sense. I don't know. I think it's hard to boil down for me, because it's like, because then if you try to replicate it, it never works.
You can't.
Yeah. And they'll have to, my guess is, if I'm hearing it correctly, they're going to have to keep evolving. They can do X for, if they want to continue to make money and be as popular, they can do whatever they're doing for, I have no idea what the period of time is. But eventually, and I agree, I mean, it makes sense what you're saying. I can say I agree that because I'm not super knowledgeable about it, but eventually they're going to have to evolve to something else. Because this, I think that makes sense to me. Like this stuff on TikTok, if you're just wearing clothes or whatever, that's very kind of basic, and it's meeting a need for whatever reason. It's not going to always meet that need. So they're either going to be done, and maybe they'll have plenty of money to be done, or they're going to evolve to the next thing.
Well, I agree with you 1,000%, and I'll see your argument and I'll raise you a Kardashian.
Oh,
because well, think about it. And I think the Kardashians are like the nexus of everything we're talking about, because
100%.
They came at a moment in time where the world was ready for
sex tape.
The sex. Oh, that's right. That's how that started. Well, that's all
when it's going to take.
Sex tapes are a big thing.
Maybe we should be considering.
That's where around. That's another podcast, everybody. That's the same time around when Paris Hilton had her thing too. I think I may be getting my timelines mixed up, but that's that family was smart.
Took it.
They capitalized on that moment, and they took it, and the world was ready for reality shows were just blowing up and becoming a thing. And so they capitalized on that nexus of all these moments. But that's all it was. Like, what do the Kardashians actually do?
Well, they had money before, right?
Are you telling me not to talk bad about them?
No.
John's a huge Kardashian
I'm saying
fan.
they contribute nothing.
I would be excited about that. No, I'm not a Kardashian.
Kardashians put a hit on me.
But if they
don't talk about them.
Bring it.
Don't talk about them.
They had money and resources before, right?
That is true.
And that's what I find, because my niece and nephews watch a lot of kids YouTubes, and they're driving jet skis on lakes, like the sharers. And I'm just like, oh, they were trust fund babies. They were billionaires before. They have this money, and that's how it's easier for them to break into it. There is a little bit of that, in the illusion of TikTok and YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
And it makes other people feel like, oh, why can't I do that? Well, you don't have drones taping your stunts on a lake.
And that's really the point too, because it's also aiding to the separation of the people who have and people who have not. And I think it is absolutely I think the pandemic too is what you're talking about earlier, has exposed that extreme gap between people who have money and people who don't have money,
and the freedoms.
And that's the other thing. Every time I hear somebody say, "Oh, the companies aren't going to be able to afford to pay $15 an hour. Where's all this money coming from? What are all these the healthcare? Hey, how about the CEOs not get that $80 million bonus this year and distribute that too? Because there's one CEO that actually does that. He makes $70,000 a year or something, and then he gives that rest of that to everybody who works with him, and they're all really happy and successful. It's a shoe company, or I can picture him. He's got long hair. I forget his name. Maybe it's along those lines. I'll put it in the show notes.
Long-haired shoe guy.
Long-haired shoe guy.
Great.
But I mean, it is possible. But it's I think this moment in time, we're straddling these two different epochs or whatever you want, epochs of time, where there was an old way of doing business, and then the pandemic happened. And going back to Aubrey's really great comment, it made cracks very visible in everything. And now we're entering into this new time where things are going to be done a whole lot differently. And there's a lot of struggle and strain and stress for people, because there's this push and pull between an older generation who wants to do it one way and a newer generation who's like, no, we don't have to do it that way. Go have a Werther's original and sit down, grandpa.
Well, also like greed and accountability. I think now that like that's one guy who does that out of all of the people. Like if I had money, I would hope I would do that. Like I would think I would do that. But like not many people are willing to give up their power or money, you know? And like those are the people who have been in power for a very long time. They do tend to be one type of person, not gonna lie. If you describe them, if you tried to point them out in a lineup, they would all be the same. But yeah, I think it's like this. I think the pandemic showed that too, like just like the freedoms that people like the exorbitantly wealthy need, like all of the things that they are not willing to give up, you know?
And also, I don't know if this is on the same wavelength, but that companies were just like, okay, you're coming back into the office. And like, no, some companies, I can't speak for all by any means, and I weren't really thinking about, we had a question about it earlier on in our first season, weren't thinking about how that would affect people. If you're going to mandate, let's just say 2 days a week, there's all kinds of things that really weren't thinking about. Not just, okay, I got to get dressed now and go into an office, but people's anxiety around being in the office, maybe they weren't vaccinated for whatever reason, or they were worried about who wasn't, or they were, I don't know, all the stuff. Like it took us so long to transition and adjust to COVID and being stuck at home. This idea that, okay, 1 month from now, we're just going to go back to sort of a normal, and not thinking about how that adjustment back, even if it's not full time, is a huge adjustment for people.
Yeah.
And I don't know that all companies were, I can't say, I'm sure some were, but we're paying attention to that, because I know that came up in my practice. It came up with one of our questions we addressed in one of our episodes.
Absolutely. And the idea of privilege too. I mean, we assume, if I can get on a plane easily and fly anywhere, or like I can go back to the office, why can't everybody else do it? It's a very short-sighted and cynical and very self-centered way to think about the pandemic and the recovery. The pandemic hit everybody very differently. I was very lucky and blessed that I have a partner that I could be holed up with in my house for a year and a half, maybe not because we drove each other crazy, but at least I had somebody there. And like, I know you were
horrible.
Yeah, you're by yourself. Horrible. And
I have like winter trauma now because of COVID.
So we also, when we have the discussions about the pandemic, the recovery, what people are doing, I think we have to keep in mind it's not the same for everybody. And that's one of my things that I want to teach everybody is like, decenter yourself from the conversation. If you're going to have a real conversation and learn about stuff from other people, really listen to them and hear them. Because it's not about, I'm speaking as the only white guy here on the panel,
Wait, what?
I'm talking to other white.
The only white guy.
I'm talking to everybody, all the other white guys out there. Like, practice decentering yourself in conversations, because your experience of life as a cisgendered male who's just happens to be white is a hell of a lot different than everybody else in the world.
And also, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, Shan, you were about to say something. Were you? Shan?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, also one thing that the pandemic did in a good way, nothing was good. I know I hate using that term, but it also opened up the world. And as a disabled person, I feel like we lost sight of the fact that this truly brought access to so many people. And now all of a sudden, we've been calling for this stuff for years, like saying, like, please have like a Zoom thing because your place is not accessible. Please have like captioning. Please have work from home, because then I can actually have a job that like I don't have to worry about like getting transportation that's not accessible or all of these things. And now all of a sudden, because the pandemic is over, in quotes, we're all like reverting back to the way that it was. And it's like, wait a second, like you made the world accessible and now you're taking it away. And like, I feel like that shock of it all is also, a lot to deal with, as like, because like disability is often so shoved to the side. And for once it was like, we're like, oh, we feel part of this. Like, oh, this is so exciting. And now like everyone's just like, all right, we're good. And you're like, no, 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 no. Did you fix the building? Did you put a ramp? No, you didn't? Okay, great. Well, I'm still not coming back to work then, you moron.
Right.
Like, I don't know what to do for you.
That's a great point. And I really appreciate you saying that, because I've always couched my idea of let's keep everything the way it has been for the past year and a half in terms of where we get to work and everything, because it just fits into people's lives better, just generally. If you have kids, if you don't have kids, if it's just the way you work, you should be able to choose how you engage with your place of business, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a whole other, what you said is a whole other layer of it that I unfortunately don't often think about, but it's an amazing point that it's an accessibility issue too. People, and I can't put it any better than you did. We opened up the world during the pandemic, and now everybody wants to close it off again and go back to the way it was. And that makes me really sad.
I remember having a conversation with somebody around a company that was saying, something like, you can come in, or you don't have to come in if you're worried, if you're blah, blah, blah. And then it was, I hope I'm going to say this right. So then if this individual who has a disability doesn't go into the office, it becomes highlighted that the person's not coming into the office because they have a disability. And then I think I'm saying this right. And then how that might be perceived by those. It was a whole thing that this individual like shared with me, that I was like, wow, yeah. So if like everybody else is going in, but let's just say disability, or you're immunocompromised, or if that's the same, whatever, I'm not sure if I'm saying this right. Yeah. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, so-and-so's got, it highlights. Mm-hmm. And it's not like it's something that somebody doesn't want to highlight necessarily, but at the same time don't want to be, what's the word? What am I trying to say?
Exposed.
Yeah.
I think I know exactly what you're saying, because I think that like people with disabilities often, especially if they're invisible, don't like to share that they have that, because our society has set us up to make it seem as though if you have a disability or you have some sort of difference, you're weaker. Yeah. And I think, and they question whether you can work. They question whether you can do the job. And it doesn't matter if you just need like certain things just to be a little bit different. They don't think that you can do it because society has told them that you can't. And so and exactly what that person is saying is like, now they have to reveal that they have this issue, but they have this difference, and their place of work is going to perceive them differently, and then they're going to be looked at differently, and maybe they won't get as much money, maybe they won't get raises in the same way, maybe they won't like get the jobs that other people are getting, even though before they would have gotten those, but now they're like, oh well, you're weaker, and you're like, no, that's not the case. Like it just and like I don't know. I could go on. I'm sorry. I could go on this for hours.
No.
Please keep talking.
Yeah. No, it's just like people with disabilities are paid, like women are paid like 20, 30 cents less than men. And like people with disabilities are paid half of that. So it's like on an average. So it's such a crazy thing to me that like we were able to kind of bridge that gap a tiny bit. And now all of a sudden we're like, it's made it even worse, because it's like now you have to expose things that you didn't want to talk about because it has nothing to do with whether you can do the job or not.
Yeah.
How much of this, I'm really enjoying listening to all of you talk about it, and it's making me think how much of this is the need for the other, that nebulous other, that we all need to we need to be a part of a group, and there always needs to be an other.
Them, yeah.
That we need to, And maybe that's what the pay, you know, the living wage thing is about, or like benefits or accessibility, or because hearing Kristin and Shannon talk, the only thing I could think of was like, I'm just picturing this crabby old white woman going, well, why did they get to do that? Why can't I do that? And that's the voice I hear in my head. And it makes me think, why do you care? Number one, it's not taking anything away from you that this person has an accessible job or is paid what they're worth, what their skill set and their experience is worth, regardless of their sex, regardless of their gender expression, their disability. They should be paid exactly what everybody else is paid for doing that job too. And it makes me think there's always, for a subset of people, there always needs to be an other.
Yeah.
And I, you know, just speaking for me personally, when gay marriage was, you know, a big thing, it still is, but you know, what are you going to do? It's always going to piss everybody off somehow. It's always a thing where it's like, why does Ralph get extra special treatment for marrying his partner? I'm like, bitch, it ain't special treatment.
No,
I'm just the
basic human rights.
Raising the level up to where you're at. And if that pisses you off so much, that's a you problem.
Reevaluate your life. It's basic. Reevaluate your life and yourself, but people aren't willing to do that work. And it is like basic human needs have not been met by the government, have not been met for a very long time. Also, like this American dream thing is like this weird myth that like where I'm from in Delco, like people are like, you got to work hard. You got to like work till your fingers bleed. And like, you got to be like, you got to do this, you got to do that. And like, but then on the other hand, like they're working for people who are like doing nothing and making all the money. So it's like this big divide where you're like, oh no, just like these people don't want to let go of all that they have in order to take care of all of the people like around them, because like it should just be the normal, but it's never been the normal. And like people aren't willing to, I mean, the government has the money, I'm pretty sure, to change a lot of things that need to be changed, but you know, you can't, I guess, change it all at once is the thing that keeps us kind of not to where we should be.
Well, that you also bring up a really good point of, you know, oh, you're good, put in a good day's work and work your fingers to the bone and drive a tractor. There's this idea of what a real
Bob the Builder.
Yes, we
Bob the Builder's
back. He's back.
There's an idea of what like a real American is, quote unquote. And every time you hear politicians stumping, it's Bob the Builder. It is Bob the Builder.
Yeah, it's an allegory for America. Let's just be
honest.
But there's this idea that politicians are and the government is talking to real America. I want to talk to real America right now. Who the hell is? I'm an American. I'm real. Last time I checked, I'm pretty real. You know, you're you know what? Just because
people would agree with me, that's what that is.
Right.
Exactly.
I live in a city on the East Coast, you know, oh, you're not real America. Last time I checked, I've lived in America my entire life. I'm pretty real, you know.
I mean, and that's someone choosing who matters and who doesn't. Like if you break it down to the kernel, that's one person saying, I matter, you don't. And like, that's the biggest problem, because like, if we all just, you know, had empathy and sympathy and like tried our best, mainly the people in power, you know, I feel like we're trying to get there, but like, I don't know that we're close yet.
Well, let me bring this full circle to what we were talking about before, because I think it's interesting. We're talking about popularity and social media, and you know, we all four of us exist on it in some way, shape, or form, and it's like for our business and our livelihood in some way. How can people inject what we've been talking about into that world? I see glimmers of it. You know, everybody I follow on TikTok or Instagram are very much people who are trying to change the narrative in terms of like calling people out and like just saying like, is this the discourse? Like, what are you talking about? Why is this happening? Kind of thing. How can we do more of that So it's not just people who look pretty in clothes that are getting billion-dollar
I feel
deals.
so bad for this person that I don't know if that's all.
We don't know who it is.
I'm
So we're not naming
assuming-
any names.
but-
They're,
Yeah.
they're
And
really
also, they just paid $1 million, so relax.
$23 million.
$23 million.
Yeah. Maybe they're philanthropists. Who knows?
Right?
How do you do? I mean, it just comes to amplifying
Voices. Yeah.
underserved voices, right? I think that that's really what it boils down to is finding different perspectives and following those different perspectives. Because I think what happens a lot with social media is you get into your own silo. And so you only follow the people that also agree with you.
Yeah.
So like,
1000%.
I don't promote following like Trump supporters because then you might go freaking crazy and
Yeah.
throw your phone out the window.
Mental health. Yeah.
But also
Self-care.
take care of yourself. But maybe like follow people who are doing things that like you're not doing from indigenous populations and from Black communities and that just bring a different perspective to your, like, let's say I try to follow actors who are from underserved communities because I feel like they're still doing art. They're doing the thing I like. How are they doing it differently? And like, how can I
support them?
inform what I'm doing? And like, and just amplifying those voices because everybody's voice deserves to be heard. That's the real American dream, right? Is like the melting pot that we all thought that we were getting into, but people's fears, destroyed that. But like, I think that that's the way to do it, is just trying to amplify voices that aren't really heard.
Yeah. And I think, I think a part of that for me too is like educating yourself on like different perspectives and also like being very aware, like if you do have a job during the pandemic, like I was donating to a lot of specific causes and I was like being very aware of where I was putting my money. And like when I felt helpless and like I didn't know if I should be sharing things because I didn't know if I like had ownership or the right to, like I tried to use my money. But then I realized I should also be amplifying. But that's also just me and who I am. And I overthink things and I'm like, this isn't my narrative. Oh, like as a woman, I'm always like, should I be doing this? Like, I don't.
You do so much though. You really have worked so hard to educate yourself over this pandemic. And I will say that Aubrie is one of those people that if you follow her, she absolutely has learned kind of her own way of doing that. And it really is inspiring to watch because she really does take the time to learn and to grow and to make a conscious effort. I think that we all talk about doing it, but Aubrie absolutely puts her money where their mouth is. And it's really, really fun it's not fun, but it's inspiring to watch.
Thank you so much.
So you both mentioned the word amplify, and I want to be specific to help people who may be listening. The one guy in New Mexico who listens to us.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Frank. Hey, Frank. How can people amplify? Like specifically, what can they do if they find somebody, an artist, a speaker, a thought leader that they love that may not be as popular as they should be? What specifically can they do to amplify that voice?
I think like going to Twitter or Instagram and sharing a story, a big thing for me is like asking permission, especially if it's like a friend who's sharing something vulnerable or like someone who is sharing something kind of more vulnerable in a way. I just try and do that just like, and usually people are like, that's what it's there for, just share it. But like, yeah, I think that's the main way, just like highlighting what you feel strongly about on your own social media. So like, and sharing stories and just putting your own thoughts to it, being like, hey, I'm sharing this because of this reason, and not just like, I mean, resharing's great too, and just like retweeting, but like also putting your own perspective on it. So people who might be feeling the same are like, oh, okay, like I can do this, or like I have this model now, or like they did it this way, maybe I want to do it this way.
Mm-hmm. And Shannon, anything to add to that?
No, I think that's really it. I mean, I'm not an expert on how to make social media not a terrible place, because I'd be a billionaire. But I think just sharing people's art. I mean, I think that like that is a really great step. I'm a big proponent in that what we watch and what we consume changes the narrative of how we feel about that community.
Yeah.
I think that like for a long time, characters from underserved communities were not shown as dynamic or interesting or multifaceted people. And I think that we've started to kind of allow that to kind of seep into our media. And I think sharing that and allowing ourselves to digest different perspectives and different art is really a first step to kind of accepting that community into society as well.
Yes, for so long in art, like there was just stereotypes of certain communities. And I think that's so dangerous. And I think like when all of the same people are writing and producing, like that's what happens. And like now is the time to move away from that forever, it feels like. And representation in the arts is so important. Like that's how I got all of my role models, like as a kid watching TV and like, even as a young girl, there weren't many lead females in like my age in series. And I think like Alex Mack might have been like, or Small Wonder, but she was like a robot. I don't know.
Oh, Small Wonder was great.
She was a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like take what you can get, as a young girl.
Well, I always joke that like I never saw myself on TV until I was on TV.
Yeah. But that's so important for people, for like you to be on TV and like for young kids to have these role models that like are so important to like just developing yourself, like your personality, and like the amount of confidence you have, I think is attributed to like, oh, like I see them doing that, I can do that. Like it's so important.
Yeah. Wow. That was a powerful statement.
Yeah.
I didn't until I saw myself on TV. Wow.
Yeah.
Oof. There's not a lot we can do to follow that up.
I never have nothing, but these ladies have just made so many profound points and been so much fun and funny.
So this has been an amazing conversation. I hate to cut it off, but I think we've been going almost an hour.
Oh, sorry, listeners.
Brought to you
Sorry,
by
everybody. Sorry. I'll edit this down to 5 minutes. Just pick out the good stuff. So where time for plugs, shameless plugs. Where can everybody see you next? Or any ongoing projects? Aubrie, why don't you go first?
Sure. I tend to write, I'm on Medium, at Aubrie, Aubrie -Williams, pretty standard spelling for that one. And then we're King Friday Productions. We're on Facebook as King Friday Productions. We are on, I should have these memorized by now, Shannon, I'm so sorry.
I don't know what they are.
We had to, on Instagram, we're KF Prods, which sounds a little questionable, but it's all we could get.
It's absolutely accurate though.
So yeah, KF Prods, we do. We push some buttons. Not in like a dirty way though. And then I think we're we're King Friday Prod on Twitter. So I'm gonna plug that stuff because I've been, there haven't been many performances these days. But I was previously in groups Goat Rodeo, which sometimes we pop up, sketch comedy, and Manny Petty sketch. I always want to give them a shout out, even though we're all dispersed,
I will put all these links in the show notes, so don't worry, people will be able to find them. And Shannon, where can people find you next, or currently, or in the future?
Wait, this comes out on Friday.
This comes out this Friday, but in perpetuity. So
great.
Whatever you got going on.
If you're listening to this in the time frame of December, I'm doing a play in Boston called Teenage Dick. It's not a porn. Which is based on Richard III.
Well,
I always have to say that whenever I say it because people are like, "I'm sorry, you're in what?"
No, it sounds questionable.
Yep, it does. But I'm also I'm in a movie called Best Summer Ever, which you can watch on Hulu.
So good.
And Aubrie and I are writing a movie, so if you're rich, and you want to give us money to do that,
we have a lot of venture capitalists that listen to this.
Oh yeah,
Frank. Listen, here's the thing: if you were from New Mexico, we'll take New Mexico money. It's totally
Frank in New Mexico.
great.
We'll drop our Venmos in the show notes.
$5.
All the
Make
ways
sure
to
we-
send us money are in the show notes. I actually, quick plug for myself. I am going to be on the Fair Deal podcast with our friend Joe Wenderhovitz and my friend Steve Kleinedler and Sam Abrams. It's going. We're going to be taping tomorrow, but it may be a few weeks before it comes out. But it will also be in the show notes. Fair Deal podcast. It's a really funny improvised podcast with our friend Joe W. So listen to that.
That's very cool.
Awesome.
And what do you got
Yeah,
going
I'm
on?
not going to be on any podcast or movie, but
You're
You have a podcast though. That's more than we have.
That is true. We
Um,
tried.
Yep. And
We'll do
you're
it eventually.
amazing
We bought
therapist.
microphones.
I have mine right here. It's beautiful.
That's it.
Yes.
I think this was a rousing success. What do you guys
Yes.
think?
It was very
Agreed.
fun. Thank you so much for listening
Yeah.
to me
We're going to get it.
babble on.
We're gonna get
So
a.
much.
We're going to the Emmys.
What
whatever
did I
is,
say
the
it was? A
days-
potty
A potty.
It was-
Potty. Ooh.
podcasts. Yeah,
Award. Yeah.
potty award.
Oh my
Yeah, I
God.
think these ladies brought it for us.
This was amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you both. I am going to do the edit for the podcast, but we can stay on and talk for people on YouTube. So thank you everybody for listening to the
Thank
podcast.
you.
Oh,
And
thank you so much.
we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Woo.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks for having us. This was so much fun. It's good to like hang out and to like,
I-
talk to friends.
It's funny. I just realized I set up another camera. I set up my
died,
phone.
and it was
No,
distracting
it
me.
did. It is on low battery, but I never pressed record. So
I thought it looked like it was like no.
no, it was no.
It was all.
It's a pandemic. Nothing counts. Don't worry. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Incredible.
All,
Ignore it anyway because I was like, I don't want to look over there. That seems weird.
I
Just gonna
am
stay
the
here.
dumbest guy in Dumbville because
No,
I
you are not.
set it up and it all looked beautiful and I forgot to
And
press
we have like,
record.
plenty of prep time too, but
But I came over an hour
Ralph
early,
has to
set
do all the
everything up.
technical-
It's
I
fine.
just stand
I mean, it looks, I want to see your faces. I don't want to see like the side of your face. So this is better, I think. It all works out, you know?
Anybody
Camera two
watching this
never
on
is as good.
YouTube, it's this is what happens. That's why we need a producer. That's what they do.
before that, we need
That
a
is true. That is what they
Yeah,
do.
this is true.
sponsors or whatever. Then we can hire a producer.
We need a sugar daddy.
Although we can
What's-
create our own studio within our
You and
home.
us
Yeah.
both.
That's
I
my
love
that's my dream for next year is to get an actual studio space where we can go and everything's already set up.
I
Yes,
want the
that
big
is
Yeah.
so
microphone and I want the great headphones.
The headphones.
wanna
Oh,
be able-
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, the big, yeah. Like Shan set up, like Shan's
Yes,
beautiful
hers.
mic.
Oh yeah, but I don't have the headphones, which was a problem this morning. It's a whole thing.
Oh, no.
The headphones are like the next step.
Okay, well, you're on step one.
I'm trying.
This was great. I
Thank
really
you,
like
guys.
see
So
I
much
had no
fun.
doubt.
Aw.
We had a really great conversation. We touched on a lot of really great topics.
We really did. I was like, I didn't know what questions to bring. And I was like, we'll see what happens.
No, I think anytime we do this
Yeah,
with
we
guests,
always-
we
no
always
problem.
talk about something that somebody's going to be like, oh yeah, that I can totally get a lot out of that. And I think we touched on a lot of
Yeah,
that.
Well, you
absolutely.
guys are really good at like wrangling it. So
Yeah.
well
My
done.
years of
Okay.
Port Stash.
I think we have great. we have good connection.
And, yeah.
We just have good whatever this is that we have going.
Vibes.
weird platonic energy
Yes.
I
happening.
love it. I love it.
Yeah, your check's in the mail.
Beautiful.
It is actually checks, like rice checks. I'm gonna.
Oh, great.
I really enjoy those. So
We'll put it,
I
we'll
am
put
on
it
board.
towards the movie's craft service. So it all,
That's the only reason I'm in television, guys.
that's, the only reason, I mean, I agree. I would have agreed to this movie regardless because it's Shannon and it's brilliant and it's been so much fun. And it really is great. I hope you get to see it. For sure.
Well,
but
we definitely. I mean, once we write it, we're gonna do a table read. So you guys, Ralph,
table
Ralph,
read.
you're
we
in.
get the call.
Oh, I love table reads.
Yes.
It's fun.
We but no,
This one will
Shan,
be better than the last one.
this will be a lot better. Although I like the last one too, again biased.
Yes.
But like Shan always promises me that I'll be in charge of craft services whenever we start to do a project.
I do.
And like, I would agree to it under any circumstances, but that's the extra, like the power that I truly need is craft services. Like, I just need to be
just to have a blank check to buy snacks.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, that'd be me. I'd be like, yeah, I'd bring the big check that's a decoy. And I'd just be like, excuse me, I'm here to buy some Kraft mac and cheese cups.
Hello, Wawa. Do you take giant checks?
Wawa.
This is a fun fact. The one thing we did, the musical chair sketch, or the first thing we did as King Friday Productions, my mom had a box of spicy gushers. They exist. Yeah, they were like spice. They had like a jalapeno flavor to them, and they were gushers. They were in the back of her cabinet forever, and no one touched them. They were very good, says I, who is a garbage stomach.
Yeah.
But my mom was like, oh, like, you're in charge of craft services. Here are things you can bring. And I was like, spicy gushers. I don't know how these are going to play out.
Gushers are like gummy candy, but they have like liquid in the center.
Yeah, they have like a little gooey liquid.
Yeah.
Got it.
I'm so sorry. I just assume being from Delco.
No, but now that you say it, I'm like,
Wait, you don't know what gushers are? Wait, are you like much younger than me?
candy with like yummies in the middle, or like
It's
I
like
don't
a
know.
fruit.
Okay, do you ever
Yeah.
have a fruit snack?
Yeah, it's like a fruit snack with
It's
juice.
a fruit
in
snack
it.
with
Right,
like, yeah,
I had that.
like
I just never
liquid.
Oh,
called
then
it.
you've had a
that, I
gusher.
guess.
Yeah.
I've had a gusher.
Oh yeah, you had a gusher.
I've had a
If
gusher.
you grew up in the 90s, you
Oh God,
ate
no,
a
I
gusher.
love you already. Like, jeez. I really like you, but woo, no.
We're around the same age.
Yeah, we're the same age. I'm actually
Okay, but like you're not that much older than me. And like,
Yeah.
like you were a human being in the 90s.
I was a human being in the 90s
Yeah.
and way before the 90s. Yes.
Then you ate a gusher.
I ate
There's
a
no
gusher.
like
It's
it's like
okay.
it's like
I won't sleep
Dunkaroos.
tonight. I have had a gusher. I just the
Yeah.
term connecting. It's I'm perimenopause.
the term.
I don't know what to tell
They're
you.
trying.
Also,
If
like,
you can block them out, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all
Oh.
chemicals and terrible.
They're all, yeah. I had a
It's
bunch
the
of,
juice inside the middle that freaked me out so much. Like, what was that? Like, I still don't know. It was
And
like
then-
a gelatin, but like also like it was like melted gelatin.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, why
I know
is this
exactly
in
what
my
you
mouth?
mean. Exactly.
it was like viscous,
Whatever.
which is a gross way to describe anything, like a very viscous liquid.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm so confused as to why they still exist in 2020. And also they added pepper to them. And my mom had to be the only one who bought them. And I was just like, I'm going to bring them. And they were weirdly a hit. Like, people liked them. Shannon did not try them. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
that's-
don't blame you.
I don't think I want a spicy gusher in my life.
You don't.
No.
No.
I'm a glutton for punishment. And also I'm like a food challenge person. Like, if I can get my name on a wall, or like if I can eat something that people don't eat, like I've eaten lobster ice cream before. That's a true fact about me, which will,
Yeah.
I'm not super proud of it, but
Should
I
be,
did
though.
it because I had to. It's
Yeah.
like a challenge that I have with my brain where like I'm the loser every time.
You're always losing double dare in your brain.
I really am. I mean, the lobster ice
Always
cream
getting
sounded
someone.
like a good idea. To my 6-year-old nephew, who I agree, I like locked eyes with him. I was like, Ollie, we're doing this. And like, I think that was maybe my biggest problem.
What did it taste like?
Okay. Here's the deal. So I did not finish much of this because it tasted like a buttery vanilla ice cream, which
Okay.
I love butter. I love vanilla ice cream. That part was great. Then it had frozen chunks of lobster in it. So you get like,
Now you lost me.
I'm so sorry, guys.
No.
so I could only do like 3 of those. And then I was like, my adult brain was like, no. You're eating like frozen fish. Like, no. You can't eat this ice cream any longer. And so it was like not super expensive, but I was on family vacation and my dad paid for mine and Ollie's ice cream. And I was like, Dad, do you mind if I throw this out? And Ollie's like, I'll eat it. My nephew ate 2 adult size, but he was young and he didn't know. He didn't have that, the logic brain. Yeah.
I think
No.
even at 6, I would have thought that was a terrible idea.
So we were in Maine and he was raised in Maine. So I
Oh,
feel like
okay.
kids in Maine probably think that's normal.
Sure.
I don't want to go
Wow.
to Maine.
That's not what I thought you were gonna
Not for
say.
that.
No.
No, I'm not eating
It's
that.
like, have you ever
better.
had rose ice cream?
Oh yes, like it tastes like
It tastes the way it
actual roses.
smells,
Yeah.
which is so bizarre. But
Yeah.
like, there's no rose petals in it.
No.
I just assumed that it would taste the way that like lobster smells.
No, yeah, this
It's
had
also
actual
bad, but,
frozen
like,
fish in it.
There's actual fish in it.
Fro-
Okay,
frozen
there we go.
shellfish.
That was
I've also eaten mushroom ice cream at the mushroom festival.
All right, now you really want.
No.
I hate mushrooms, so that really is like.
I love
wow.
mushrooms, but not an ice cream.
I'm
It was
so
good, though.
concerned for you.
Shannon, you should have been concerned years ago. Honestly. Like this is not the turning point for this.
It's not. I
Man.
really do want to get you a Food Network show.
Yeah.
Oh,
It'll-
that would be great.
yeah. No one else wants to eat this, so here's Aubrie Williams.
Aubrie will eat it. That's what it's called. It's called Aubrie will eat it.
Yeah,
Aubrie will eat
honestly.
I love that.
I can see the logo already. Just me in like a circle with like just a bunch of shitty food. I can curse now, right? We're off.
Yes. Yeah, we can. All right, friends.
Thank you so
Yay.
much. So nice to meet you guys. You're so much fun.
This
Thank
was
you
It was
amazing.
so nice to meet you. I hope
Oh,
to
you
see you
too.
IRL.
Yeah.
Yes.
So headshots and little blurbs
I'm gonna do that like right now.
Oh,
either
forget it.
tonight or tomorrow
remind
because
me.
I'm going to edit and put all this together tomorrow so it's ready for Friday. So
I can't wait. We'll share it on our social media. So we'll
Yeah.
retweet
Give
it.
us
Yes,
a
that would be
boost.
great. Thank
Yeah.
I will. Yeah.
All
Absolutely.
right.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you so
everybody.
much.
And I hope we can perform sometime in the near future.
I
That
know.
would be so lovely.
Fingers crossed. We should do something soon. We got to have like a Friendsgiving hang or something. Too.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah, I won't be here, but in January.
Or
I'll be
maybe a
back.
new year. Yeah. When do you get back, Shan?
God.
You don't have to tell.
I go to Boston until the 2nd, and then I have to go to LA for a week. And then I'm
Ooh.
back for 3
Okay.
weeks, and then I go back to LA. So somewhere the first 3 weeks of January, I'll be home.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Maybe,
We'll do something
maybe we
first.
can
Yeah.
like a redo New Year or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be great. We could do all the holidays at one time.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Oh, actually, I should have my movies by then. Maybe.
Oh, yes.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah. We
Cool. Yeah.
Bottom screeners because she's
Oh, I love this. I'm gonna watch Best Summer Ever this weekend.
she's watching
I'm
it.
already ready.
Oh, you should.
Oh, God. I apologize in advance.
No, it's. I
No,
love
it's
it.
great.
I love. Shan, you're so good.
It's
Yeah,
great.
but I play a 16-year-old, and here I
I
am
love
one
it.
thing. It is not that.
Listen, people
Stop
are
putting
doing it.
yourself down.
People
You're in
doing it
movies.
on Riverdale
You're-
all the time.
Something's going
So
on.
I know. Yeah.
Yes, but I'm like almost 40.
yeah.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
People have done worse. People have done worse.
I'm the Andrea
Right?
from 90210.
She's Andrea from 90210 right now.
That's so good.
Anyway, okay, I will let you
All right,
all go.
I'm gonna
Thank
let you
so
guys
much.
go. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. Have a great night. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.